Meet the new director of Trussville Parks and Recreation, and we'll talk about a robbery at a popular Leeds restaurant. Tribune Unscripted starts now. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome. It's Thursday. Thanks for joining us for Tribune Unscripted. I'm Brandon Dawkins with Tribune Digital Media, here with Scott Buttram, publisher of the Trussville Tribune. And lots to get to today, but we do, in Trussville, where we have a new mayor, and a lot of our areas where we have new mayors, we're seeing a lot of personnel changes, and that comes with new administrations, obviously. Mm-hmm. But one of the really important ones that we are experiencing here in Trussville is the retirement of David Vinson, who led Trussville Parks and Rec for years.
Decades, yeah.
And now bringing in somebody new there. And so Chris Mills, who is the new director of Trussville Parks and Rec, is with us today.
Yep, Chris is here. And as you mentioned, David Vinson had been director for decades. Mm-hmm. Really did a great job building Trussville Park and Rec up to kind of fit our community. And Chris has an extremely interesting background. In fact, I was a little surprised to hear he took the job because he had a great job. But we've got him here tonight. If Ron, we bring him in, we'll introduce Chris to the community. And a lot of you in the community know Chris because he is a Trussville guy, lives here with his family. Chris, welcome into Unscripted.
Thanks, Scott. Glad to be here, man.
First question, I guess, is the obvious. You were assistant principal at Springville High School. We cover 8 high schools here at the Tribune. Academically, Springville's at the top of our high schools. Why would you give up a great job to manage a bunch of kids and their parents in sports, athletics?
Well, because Trussville Park and Rec is more than that.
As a father that's raised 2, why do you want to deal with people like me? What are you thinking?
It's still a fair question.
I'm super glad to tell that story. You're right. I did have a great job. Springville's a great community. Spent 4 years there. People may know me more as coaching, through the years. But to be perfectly honest, the last few years, my wife and I have really just prayed a lot about a way for me to lead and serve here in Trussville, where we are, where my kids are, where we go to church, and every part of me thought that was probably going to be in the education world, and whether that meant coaching football here or an administrator at a school, that's really where I thought I would be, and some conversations happened through the years, and just none of those ever worked out. And so that was the Lord's way of just saying, trust me and wait, and because I got something better for you. And when this opportunity came up, the prayer was obviously first, and talking to my wife and even my kids before pursuing this, and they were all on board. And when David retired and that was public, I knew it was something I at least wanted to pursue and see where that would lead, and was able to have a few conversations, applied for the job, went through an interview process, and just very humbled and honored that Mayor Short chose me to do it. So that's kind of the quick version of why.
Well, Chris, Trussville Park and Rec, like Scott joked in the beginning, obviously does run all of our sports programs here, but it's so much more than that. And what you said, this is like day 3. Is this day 3?
Day 4.
Day 4 on the job. If you had to explain to somebody what all Trussville Parks and Rec encompasses, how do you even sum it up?
Oh, this will be good.
Yeah. I actually had my first staff meeting this morning, and I'll tell you exactly what I told them. The Parks and Recreation, it can touch every single person in our city. We're in a city of roughly 29,000 people right now. And between what goes on in our civic center, what goes in our recreation department with both our kids sports and our adult sports, our senior center, and then the maintenance department that is all throughout every building we have here, at some way, shape, or form, Parks and Rec is touching everybody. And whether me personally, when I first, jumped into to learning, I didn't even know all that. I really didn't. So yes, if I had to put that into words, it's a way that our community, that our city, our municipality serves and gives back to our community in a lot of different ways.
Yeah. Just the park system itself, you just think about the greenway and our public green spaces. I mean, it's just a beast.
Well, Chris and I were talking, I guess yesterday, Chris, or we were on the phone, and you think of parks, you think of kids, the athletics, all the parks, swing sets, and all playgrounds. But you really are, in Trussville anyway, you're affecting people from cradle to grave. And Chris mentioned the senior center. That's part of Park and Rec as well. Chris, this is such an unfair question for somebody that's been in there for 4 days, and actually not even
But
4
he's
days.
gonna ask it anyway.
Three and a half. Yeah, I'm gonna do it anyway. What do you see, or what do you think? Well, let's approach this a different way. You've only been 4 days in the Park and Rec department, but you've been a long time as a parent in Trussville with kids going through Park and Rec. What do you think we need right off the bat? Well,
we've outgrown our sports complex. Like if you want day one stuff, anybody who's ever been to a soccer tournament, a baseball tournament, or a football game knows that there's nowhere to park, and everything's full. So when you look around to some surrounding municipalities that have multiple places, multiple parks, multiple places for multi-purpose fields, things like that. Here in the near future, I hope that some expansions coming. That's some of the vision, some of the ideas. Some more fields, and there's definitely some vision for that, and there's places for that to go. But that's going to be something that I hope we can tackle fairly early, and because we need places to bring in flag football tournaments, and bring in soccer tournaments, and bring in basketball tournaments, and so obviously we that's going to take a little bit of time, and obviously and being fiscally responsible in all those as well.
I imagine that you and Mayor Short have had lots of conversations just about vision for Park and Rec. What are some of the highlights there?
Well, we and I can't speak on too much just yet, but to say that part of Mayor Short's vision for Parks and Rec specifically was one of the things that drew me to this job. I told the staff this morning that outside of me wanting an opportunity to serve in my community, but fully believing in our mayor's vision was right under that for coming here. So, I hope down the road that we get to offer a lot more. We have memberships right now at our Civic Center, which is fantastic. And you can play basketball or pickleball, you can get a workout in, you can walk the track. I hope in the near future that there's a lot more that we get to offer. There are some places that I've gotten to visit and seen what it could look like, moving forward. But again, I don't want to overspeak just yet, but just know that the mayor and I have had those conversations. And there's some really cool things coming down the pipeline.
Chris, the last time we had Mayor Short on was, I guess, just a few weeks ago. And one of the things that he shared with the audience was the expansion of parking at the sports complex. And I know you were aware of that really before you took the job that was going on. Does that look like it's all go now on the additional parking?
It seems to be. The vision for some of it, obviously has to wait a little bit, with the bid process. Some of it's a little bit bigger job, than just we can do, here in town. But this first part that's being working on here, it seems to be all a go. And I know there's some pushback in places, and anytime you start building things, moving things, knocking trees down, or whatever happens, there's going to be people that are upset. But But anyone that's, again, I go back to, if you've ever been to a baseball or a soccer tournament over there, it's not only an issue, but it's even a safety issue at times.
It is.
You know,
It
where
is a
people
safety
parking on the
issue.
side of buildings and are on the side of greenways, and you know, we have elderly people that can't get to the handicap spaces where they need to get to. So it's
And
something
500 kids running around.
Well, yeah, I mean, those pesky kids.
Go beat it for it. I don't really have any more questions.
Okay.
Chris, is there anything you want to share with the audience that we haven't asked you about?
I'll tell you, I keep using the term drinking through a fire hose right now here in day 4.
I can imagine.
What I hope that the people of Trussville, and especially our staff, see that is visibility. You're going to see me as many places as I can be. You know, I want to be. I want to see what's going on at the senior center. I'm going to be at basketball games. I'm going to be at soccer tournaments. I want to be visible in our community because my mentor, who many people know, Greg Moore, that was something I got to see, you know, firsthand, to watch how just being visible, just touching people, just asking how people's day's going, and trying to be helpful and supportive in any way I can. I hope that the people of Trussville will see that. I do have an open door. You know, I will listen to anybody, and maybe that's opening Pandora's box to say that publicly, but I'll always listen. And again, I just hope that a year from now that we can come back and talk again, and hopefully there's even more wonderful things to talk about.
All right. Well, we appreciate you taking time out of your day in these first few days, especially to kind of just introduce yourself to the community and give them your background and all of that. So I think that's great. Thanks for doing that. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about a lot of things in Leeds. So,
a lot going on.
Yeah, turning our attention from Trussville to Leeds. Stay with us. Have you been to Discount Warehouse lately? New electronics, brand name makeup, and bedding arrive daily. Follow their Facebook page to find out about special sales on clothing, tools, and fireworks. Discount Warehouse, where you will never pay retail price. Welcome back, everybody. Well, actually, let's see. No, we are turning our attention to Leeds. Let's talk. They've had several. The Leeds Police Department has been busy.
Well,
in the last
let me
week
just
or
say, our
so.
police departments are always busy.
Yes.
Chief Irwin over there has done a good job of getting several out to the public recently,
he has.
kind of showing us how busy they've been. It's been interesting.
It has been interesting. And the first one we wanted to talk about was just kind of a really random one where a woman has been charged with her crime. Well, suspected crimes in a Leeds Chick-fil-A drive-through robbery,
Right.
where she essentially maced the person working in the drive-through
Right.
and put pressure to hand her
money
the
bag.
cash bag, and then drove recklessly out. And I think they tracked her down.
Yeah,
you and
if
I
I'm not mistaken, they tracked her down at a casino in Wetumpka.
Yeah,
spending the money she had stolen, according
took a minute.
to Chief Irwin. And you brought up a good point, because my first thought was,
You're like, why didn't they
okay, I get it, but
close
why
the
didn't she
window?
just close the window when they
Yeah.
pulled the mace out? But you mentioned like the Chick-fil-A in Trussville has a really unusual drive-through where the people are
it's been
exposed.
redesigned. And I don't know if Leeds is like that or not. It's
Don't
been a
know.
while since I've been through that. But yeah, they are at the newer
Yeah, I think at McDonald's they had
concepts.
just shut the window.
Yeah,
So we're not giving you the
it's
money.
a whole wall that opens, and
Right.
they're in and out,
Yeah,
outside.
they
anyway,
actually step out of their
interesting to
drive-through
think
now,
about.
Chick-fil-A and Trussville. So that may be going on there, but good job. There were several agencies involved in that. We're able to track her down, find out where.
Because you're right, they did.
Where she was.
It was a Miss Haynes. She's 32 years old from Birmingham, and you're right. They tracked her down at the Wind Creek Casino one time.
And now the question arises: if she won anything gambling with the Chick-fil-A money, does Chick-fil-A get the winnings from the gambling? Because I think that's That
was a very
risk,
random story, but in all seriousness,
It was a really
I hope the
strange
person that was
story.
working in the drive-through is okay.
Yeah, well, that's
So,
exactly right,
absolutely.
because
So-
that could have been any of our kids in there.
Absolutely. Also, they are holding a man on a $1.8 million bond in a child sex abuse and pornography case, too. That was a major one that they released some information on.
Which is a high bond, but I think there were maybe 50-something counts
Okay.
on that. Just disturbing images that were found of child abuse and child pornography. So we'll be following that case as it goes through as well.
Okay. Another one where they identified, let me catch up here, where they identified a suspect in a multi-state fraud case. I think this one had to do with like credit cards and
Right.
things like that, credit card fraud. And so they caught that person. I think that was the crimes were reported in mid-December, and some different organizations kind of came together there to catch the lady that was
Right.
involved with that. And that I'm always so glad to see them put this kind of information out, because sometimes when that stuff happens to you, you feel like nobody ever pays the price for it.
Well, for
and
years,
it's super annoying.
banks would tell people, yeah, we'll report it, but there's not much we can
Right.
do. They're getting pretty serious, and they're getting good at tracking these people back
Yeah.
and getting them. So.
Yeah, because this was a California woman, they said, that had carried out widespread credit and debit card fraud, but that investigation was led by Leeds, and they
Yep.
caught her. So I thought that.
And we all pay for that.
Yes, we do.
We pay for those losses.
And then finally, this one was random too. There was an attempted vehicle hijacking and theft at the Buc-ee's in Leeds.
Yeah, and let's clarify that a little bit.
Okay.
The suspect ran across the street to the Buc-ee's.
Okay.
And
That's where they caught him.
Yeah, antics ensued. He tried to get in the car. He did get in the car. I think the driver got out. He tried to leave with the car. It was a mess. But Leeds police were there immediately and able to get him. And the reason I want to clarify that, I think that's the second incident that's been reported from the Leeds police regarding a situation, similar
Yes, that's right. I
situation
forgot
at
about
Buc-ee's.
the other one.
We've got no reason. Buc-ee's is a very safe place, and
there's a ton of people there all
there's
the
a ton of
time.
people there. Somebody's watching everything because there's so many people there. But sometimes people will see a business name pop up in a headline and think, well, is it dangerous? Should I be worried?
Mm-hmm.
There's no danger at Buc-ee's. This is just two incidents. This particular one actually didn't start at Buc-ee's. It kind of ended up at Buc-ee's.
Okay.
If that makes sense. But great work by the Leeds police to move in and take care of these incidents and, prevent a lot of them just because they're watching stuff before it happens.
Absolutely. And that suspect is currently in the Jefferson County Jail without bond. And so he faces multiple charges.
Yeah,
including first-degree kidnapping.
it went off. Because he, I think, pulled away while somebody was in the car. But I think Chief Irwin does a great job over there. That department does a great job. And it's a safe area. Leeds is safe, and Buc-ee's is safe as well. But that's a wild thing. And if it's your car they're trying to get in, it's serious.
Yeah,
you know
and
what I
it's
mean?
scary.
So,
Yeah, it's really
it is
scary. So good job for Leeds for handling all these things and then letting us know about them
Right.
as well too. So, okay, another quick break before we come back and wrap up with the rest of the news for the day. Stay with us.
If you don't have a will, trust, or some kind of estate plan, you're leaving your loved ones with a lot of headaches. Probate fees and tax issues bring stress to your family while they grieve your loss. Cahaba Law Group is here to protect them and give you reassurance that your hard-earned money and assets are not lost to bureaucratic mayhem. They can help you create the ideal estate plan. If you're currently in probate, Cahaba Law Group can help assist you there too. Plus, they can handle more than just probate. They can serve you in just about any legal matter. Begin now by scheduling a consultation at cahabalaw.net.
I'm Drew Lawley, General Manager at Courtesy Buick GMC. Come see us at Courtesy, where we have over 300 vehicles to choose from, including GMCs, Buicks, and certified pre-owned vehicles. Come see us at Courtesy or check us out at courtesybirmingham.com. proud supporter of our area high school teams.
Okay, we have tried to keep people posted as there's been changes through the whole Interstate 59 widening process, which has overall gone
very well.
Very well. And so they have this lane shift related to the widening. It was supposed to start a couple of days ago, but we had a weather delay. It actually started yesterday. I did think that was a really pretty useful map that was put out by AlDOT that kind of showed there, because that's a tricky spot, that Interstate 59, 459.
Right.
It's actually, I think it's a death trap.
Well, it sure feels like one right now, and it has really throughout the construction. It's been a tricky area to traverse.
But I always wonder who designed that in the beginning anyway. I think that was a terrible design. If you're getting on for 459 to get on to 59 to go downtown, and you have to jump those lanes, it's a nightmare.
Welcome to Alabama. Bad designs are us.
I mean,
we've got a lot of them in this state.
I just avoid it at all costs.
You know,
anyway.
I attribute that to sometimes you just don't know till it's built.
Yeah.
It's like, that's not a really good sight line on that road.
This is really a bad idea.
Look better on paper than it did in reality.
I don't know if ultimately the changes there will make that easier, if it's just going to be.
Oh, I definitely think when everything's complete, it will be easier, and it'll be a smoother transition for everyone. Look, we knew when this started, it's a major project. They're adding a lane on 59 between 459 and 141 exit, Chalkville Road exit. So that in and of itself is a big job, right?
Yeah.
They're adding 50% to the interstate on both sides. But then it connects to another interstate, which is what you're looking at now, and that's tricky and it's complicated. I'm glad you mentioned the fact that it's gone well, because it really has.
Yeah,
and weather played into that. They had a lot of dry weather, but
they were ahead of schedule.
Yeah, they closed the lanes or closed the access ramps to Chalkville Road on the southbound side and opened it early. We talked about $1 million incentive the developer got for being ahead of time. The weather's still got to cooperate, but these guys have shown a knack for doing good work and doing it quickly. So hopefully it won't be too painful. The good news is
another year left of it too. It's not completed until
it's sure going to be
next spring.
It's
but
going to be a lot better when it happens.
Absolutely.
So, but yeah, as soon as Jacob gets information, we'll get it posted.
Okay. And then another huge story recently was the ethics charges and he's in South Alabama now, in Baldwin County, but I think there's a lot of people that are familiar with Warren Pouncey, who was previously with Jefferson County Schools.
Right. Well, most know him as Craig Pouncey. I think Warren Craig's his full name. Is that right?
Yeah.
Warren Craig. But before that, he was the assistant state superintendent over finance.
Right.
And so well known there, and twice considered for state superintendent. Passed over, both times. Really got sideways with board members during one of those processes. I specifically remember he and Mary Scott Hunter, who was on the State Board of Education, getting very sideways. He didn't get the job either time. Ended up being hired as the superintendent for Jefferson County, which I question a little bit. Certainly, Dr. Pouncey knows what he's doing and he knows education. But he sometimes had a knack for rubbing people the wrong way. I don't hold that against anyone. Some people just accidentally rub people the wrong way. I've been accused of that myself. But he did have a lot of conflict, it seemed like to me, publicly. And so he ended up as superintendent down in South Alabama, as you said, and I think it was 15 ethics charges. Is that correct?
Yes, it's 15 counts of using public office for personal gain.
Right. So what happened is it was sent through the Ethics Commission, who reviewed it and referred it to the district attorney, I believe, who has now brought these charges. So We don't really know the detail, or at least I have not heard the details.
Yeah, and it said that, details will be released later as more information
Yeah,
comes out.
we'll get more, and just reading between the lines, I don't want to speculate. I've got a pretty good idea of what I think happened, but I don't know enough details, and we can just be patient and wait for it to come out. But he's really done a lot for education in the state of Alabama. He did a lot for education here in Jefferson County. But for some reason, I just didn't feel like I was in shock that this has happened. But I guess we just kind of want to see what he did.
Can you tell if the counts are specific to his position in South Alabama or anything from his time here?
I could not figure that out. The fact that the charges were filed by the Baldwin County District Attorney would lead me to believe Baldwin County.
That's kind of what I was thinking too.
And it'll be interesting. I mean, remember, school systems hire a lot of workers. They have a lot of workers on staff. And we've seen cases before. I won't say that's what happened here because I don't know. But we've seen cases before where elected officials or appointed officials have kind of taken advantage of employees under their control in terms of asking them to do some personal work for them, or construction companies hired to do something for the municipality and, hey, can you do me a favor as long as you're... I don't know if that's what happened, but just kind of reading the little bit we do know, I would not be surprised if that's kind of the scenario that ends up being presented. But we'll report it right away. Even though he's been out of Jefferson County for quite a while, a lot of people knew. We've got a lot of Jefferson County schools are in our coverage area. So those administrators work with him, and they'll be interested to know what's happened.
Okay, so we'll follow that story. And another story that we're just full of criminal news today. Another story that came down from the U.S. Attorney's Office here involved a Pinson man who has been sentenced for child sexual exploitation crimes. And so he received a sentence of 240 months. I thought this was interesting, followed by life on supervised release. Am I?
Yeah, basically the state is saying we're never taking our eyes off you.
Yeah, for transporting and possessing child pornography.
Right.
Benjamin Norris, 44, Pinson.
Not loose in society is where he needs to be. So good work by the prosecutors. I don't know who brought that case originally. Like you said, I think we got it from the Northern District of the U.S. Attorney's Office. So I don't know the details on what led to that arrest, but I think the information we do have is probably enough.
Pretty telling, for sure. Okay, now we're going to turn over to some news in Springville. The first thing I wanted to do, well, like we mentioned, new administration there, so we've seen some changes there too. So we're going to talk about a new police chief in just a moment, but also Springville's fire chief has been appointed to be the president of the Central Alabama Fire Chiefs Association. And so that's good for him, kudos for him, because he'll be helping lead that organization, and they're real involved when it comes to fire issues around the state. And so I would imagine that's a feather in his cap for Springville for him to be serving at that level.
That's right. And congratulations.
That's Richard Harvey
to the chief. We're excited for his opportunity, and it's just nice to have our local folks recognized by a broader audience. And certainly he wouldn't be elected to that position if he wasn't highly thought of.
Absolutely. So. And then also in Springville, they've had a change in leadership in the police department.
Right.
And so former chief Wayne Walton, who I didn't realize went to Argo.
Yeah, we just found that out today.
Went to Argo. Made that move, and now Jason Mize is the new police chief in Springville. And so that's just happened in the last couple of months, and he's kind of set his vision out. I think he wants to put a special emphasis on community policing and his officers really being out in the community, getting to know people, being recognizable to people, as I can imagine they probably already are in some ways. But it sounds like he wants to put a particular emphasis on that as well.
Which, first of all, I love community policing, and Springville is probably the ideal place to implement that. Yeah. I think what you'll see with the new chief, and I agree with you, I think a lot of people in Springville know it's a small department, and those officers are out there, But when you get a chief that mentions this, what the biggest difference you'll see is he'll just be very intentional and help his officers be very intentional about what they're trying to accomplish and what they're trying to do and become part of the community. I think that's the right approach, and Springville's the right place for that.
Sounds like he's eyeing some increase in training opportunities for his people as well, and so a lot going on there.
You know, there are challenges. Trussville sees a little bit of this, and they see it in Springville as well. Springville doesn't have quite the retail development Trussville does, but they've got a Walmart, a big one. And that means that small town doubles and triples and quadruples in size when those doors are open and the lights are on.
That's a good point.
And so as you might be police chief of a town of 6,000, but you've got to protect about 25,000 on any given day. So that'll be his approach, and he'll recognize that. If you don't keep them safe, they don't come back. So Springville's a great city, and he'll do a great job.
So many changes going on for sure. So.
Yeah, well, every 4 or 5 years, it gives us a lot of news stories, right?
It does.
As these things move around.
All right, well, that's everything we've got for today, unless you've got something I don't know.
No, I think we covered a lot. Excited to meet Chris and introduce him to the community. I just got to tell you, I've just got this whole feeling of optimism about so many of our cities and communities right now. You can kind of see the energy and excitement of new leadership stepping in. You go through a period of uncertainty because they're kind of trying to just figure out where the bathrooms are in the building. But now you're starting to see the excitement lift a little bit, and we're hearing from different people in all 9 cities, and it's just encouraging and it's kind of fun. We're in that fun phase right now, and I like it.
Okay, good. All right, we hope you have a great rest of the week and weekend. We'll be back next week. We'll see you then.